All right, so real quick, to answer a question that was posed to me, why does God allow suffering, so much suffering? And then in the Christian theology, the justification for God allowing us to suffer is it's for our own good, right? Romans 8:28, all things work for the good. So someone posed that question to me. The person who posed it to me didn't necessarily agree with it, with my answer, or with God using, divorce, loss of home, or relationship heartbreaks, all the stuff that we go through to punish us, right? Why? And that punishment is supposed to be for our good, right? To chastise us, and that chastisement is supposed to be for our good, right? And then when it doesn't work out for our good, like someone can't take the pressure, they kill themselves, they snap, they kill people, whatever. Like, how do you explain that? That didn't work for his good. So it was a very interesting question that the person asked me. So I attempt to answer it. Whether it was satisfactory or not, that's to be seen. I don't know. But I don't like to just answer stuff and sound like your typical Christian, or your everyday, your Sunday, superficial Sunday churchgoers. I answer stuff that's going to challenge your thinking a little bit and put you on the defense, right? Because it's hard to put me on the defense, right? Because it is what it is. Like, I'm sharp with it. You know what I'm saying? I toot my own horn a little bit, pat myself on the shoulder. I'm a little sharp with it. So when you ask me some questions, you better be prepared. So here's my response to that. First of all, Galilei, philosopher in the, I think, 16th century, wrote a paper on inertia. You guys can look it up. And so my answer was scientific. There's a force called inertia. And in Galileo Galilei thesis or dissertation on inertia, he talks about that in all matter exists inertia. And inertia is a force to remain the same. I'll say it again. Inertia is a scientific force. It is a force to keep things as they are. It is an energetic value. It has an energetic value to keep things as they are, or to remain as is. And that's a force. Now, medically, scientifically, in terms of, I think it's ontology. I don't remember if it's ontology or not, but it's a study of cells. I think it's ontology. But when you study cells, they will teach you that within all cells, every single cell, right, its resting charge is negative. Its resting charge is negative because every cell is charged. Positive protons, cations, anions, and it means negative, positive. But every cell naturally that's not acted upon is negatively charged. So inertia, again, is the force to keep things as they are. That was Galileo in the 16th century, 1500 and something. Later on, Isaac Newton came and substantiated that and backed that with his laws of an object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. I think that's the third law or something like that. The third law of I think it's the third law, but be that as that may be, the point is he substantiate the thesis of inertia. So in simple terms, things have a tendency to stay the way they are. That's in lay terms. A pre-K, a kindergarten kid can understand this. Every atom, matter, every object, inanimate or animate, has a tendency, a predisposition to stay as they are. That is inertia, and that is one of the laws of Newtonian physics. Objects at rest stay at rest. Things tend to keep doing what they are doing without some external force. If there's no external force, everything will stay exactly the way it is. If you are a thief, if you are a robber, meaning you have a predisposition, you are predisposed to steal. Where that comes from, we don't know. Could be something in your childhood. But you have a predisposition, meaning you have an inclination, a natural propensity to steal things, right? you will continue in that way until you die, according to the physics, according to Galileo, according to Newtonian physics. Objects will keep doing what they're doing, whether they're animate or inanimate. A rock will stay exactly where it is indefinitely, less acted upon by an external force. That external force could be me walking by and kicking the rock, lifting up the rock, throwing the rock, moving the rock. Now the rock has changed its what's called trajectory and velocity, right? Had I not moved that rock, it would remain there indefinitely until erosion and other laws come into play. But it will remain indefinitely. So if you are a person who is prone to steal, if there's no external force, that external force could be you got shot in the act of robbery, but you didn't die. Now, because you came close to death, that very external force, which was the gunshot that you got, has changed your mindset. Now you're like, I will never steal anymore because I almost died. You got locked up committing a crime. You got caught in the act of robbery and served 10, 15 years. And now you're like, you know what? I'm a changed man. Why? Because the external force of imprisonment has changed the trajectory and velocity of your predisposition. Right? You're no longer predisposed or inclined to steal because the external force, which was the police officer arresting you, caused you to have an epiphany or a revelation that you need to make a change. But had there not been an external force, you would continue on the path of robbery. All human beings are inherently lazy. Every human being, without exception, is fundamentally lazy. Because of the law of inertia. You will continue in whichever state you are. If you are laying on the couch, if you are predisposed to lay on the couch, to complain, to whine, to never get up, you will continue to do that. Again, the laws of inertia. We are subjected to these laws. However, unlike the rock, unlike the inanimate object, we are animated, right? We're animated by the life force, which is God within us, right? So the question which was posed to me, why do God use difficulties to prod us along, to change our dispositions, etc., is because of that. That very answer, the very fact that inertia is within every cell in your body. And inertia is the tendency to stay as you are. So biologically, you will always remain doing what you're doing. Biologically, the life force, which is the spirit of God in you, is the only external force, if we want to use it that way, that can cause you to make a change. So if an object is not acted upon by an external force, that object will continue in its same way that it is in. Object at rest will stay at rest unless acted upon by an external force. That's Newtonian physics. So the reason why God has to use difficulties is to prod us. Because if there is no fire at your heel, if there is no poking, if there's nothing no impetus, something to really shock and awe you into action, you are going to remain in inaction. And inaction don't mean you're just laying down doing anything. It simply means that you're going to continue on whatever path you are on. And if you're on a path of destruction, if you're on a path that is counterintuitive to your spiritual maturation, your development, your evolution, your growth, then this is why God allows an external force, which that external force is a difficulty. It has to be some kind of challenge, some kind of hardship because of that very law. That law of inertia is great, but it's also very dangerous because that force will keep you in a mindset that will fight. Inertia is why the drug addict defends his use of drugs. Inertia is why the alcoholic defends rigorously his drinking habits. Inertia is why the lackadaisical deadbeat fathers or the women or the men, the bitterness, the whatever mental state that is negative, that is destructive and dysfunctional. Inertia is the reason why that state of mind will never change unless there's an external force. And this is why God has to whoop us. I mean, this is why God has to sometimes cripple us. He has to allow some things to come into your life that will awaken the genius that is in you. This is where the word genie come from. Genius. And all that comes from your genes. Notice genes, genie, genius, they all have the G-N-E in them. The reason for that is because within your genes, your DNA is called the code, right? Your DNA has all the answers you need to figure yourself out. Because your DNA is codified. It has a code, and that code is to unlock all of your potentials within you, which is your genius. And the only way to do that, to counter the forces of inertia, to counter the laws of physics, is to send or allow the difficulty into your life that's going to prod you, that's going to force you to push back or to break free from inertia, because we are all matter, and built within our matter is the force of inertia. And that's the answer as to why God allows these challenges into your life. Because had he not allowed them, you will never change. You will never change. And you will rigorously defend your position of being lazy. You will build an argument and justify your sick psychology, whatever it may be. Use your imagination. Whatever it is you're defending that is sick, counterintuitive, does not add to the gene pool, does not add or contribute to anything positive and constructive to the human race. You will defend why you need to do crack. You will defend why you need to be a moocher, living off your moms at 40, 50, 60, whatever. You will defend rigorously why you a bum. You will defend why you can't go out here and make something of yourself. You will rigorously defend it. And this is why the hardships are constantly going to be sent up on you to goad, to coerce, to force, and to push you to break free from inertia. And the longer you have been sitting in the state of inertia, the force of inertia, the more difficult God has to send into your life to break free from it. Till next time, peace.